Sarah and Tom Davis decided to take a late-night drive to avoid traffic. The deserted highway stretched out before them like a black ribbon, illuminated only by their car's headlights and the faint glow of the moon. Sarah, at the wheel, tried to stay alert while Tom dozed off in the passenger seat. Everything was calm until the headlights of a truck appeared in the rearview mirror, closing in at an alarming speed. Sarah frowned, adjusting the mirror to get a better look. The truck drew dangerously close and then flashed its lights repeatedly. Tom woke up with the glare and asked what was going on. "I don't know," Sarah replied nervously. "He's right on our tail." Tom suggested letting the truck pass, but when Sarah slowed down, the truck did the same. Then it sped up, trying to overtake them on the left, only to fall back in line, tailgating them dangerously. It was as if the driver wanted to intimidate them, turning their peaceful nighttime drive into a high-speed nightmare. Heart racing, Sarah floored the gas pedal. The engine roared as they zoomed down the deserted road, trying to lose their mysterious pursuer. Tom, now fully awake, grabbed his phone to call the police, but there was no signal. "This can't be happening," he muttered, staring in disbelief at the screen. Suddenly, the truck vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Sarah and Tom breathed a sigh of relief, thinking the worst was over. But as they rounded a bend, the truck's blinding headlights appeared again, this time ahead of them, as if it had materialized out of thin air. There was no way it could have circled around so quickly. Tom began to sweat, paranoia rising. "This road is trapping us," he said, his voice trembling. Desperate, they decided to veer off the main highway and take a side road, a narrow path winding through a dense forest. The darkness there was almost absolute, the trees forming a wall that blocked out any external light. The only sounds were the crunching of gravel beneath their tires and the rapid beating of their hearts. As they drove through the winding path, the truck seemed to have disappeared. But then, the car's engine started sputtering. "Not now, please, not now," Sarah pleaded, trying to keep control. The car abruptly came to a halt, as if an unseen force had turned everything off. They were in the middle of the forest, surrounded by darkness. Tom suggested they try to push the car to find help. But before they could get out, a disturbing sound echoed through the forest, a metallic creaking followed by a soft thud, as if something was approaching. Tom looked at Sarah, panic clear in his eyes. "Stay in the car," he said, but Sarah was already stepping out, determined to find a solution. With flashlights in hand, they ventured into the forest, their footsteps echoing in the oppressive silence. The truck reappeared, parked just a few meters away, its headlights glaring like the eyes of a hungry beast. In the driver's seat, only a shadowy figure. "Who's there?" Tom shouted, but the only response was the sound of an engine revving. Suddenly, the truck charged at them, and Sarah and Tom dashed into the underbrush, trying to escape between the trees. They could hear the truck plowing through the forest like a mechanical beast, knocking down everything in its path. That's when Tom stumbled upon something, an old, rusted sign half buried in the ground. "Road of the Lost," he managed to read aloud before Sarah pulled him along. They ran until they spotted an old wooden house, weathered and worn by time. It was the only structure for miles around. With no other choice, they broke into the house, locking the door behind them. Inside, the silence was deafening. Sarah picked up an old rotary phone on the wall, but all she heard was static. The truck, now out of sight, had stopped, but they knew they were being watched. Suddenly, heavy footsteps echoed from upstairs. "We're not alone," Sarah whispered, gripping Tom's hand tightly. They climbed the creaky stairs, their flashlights flickering. They found a dusty hallway lined with locked doors. Then, they saw a shadow moving at the end of the corridor, a tall, hooded figure. When the flashlight beam hit it, it vanished like smoke. Terror took hold. The house was alive with whispers and distorted laughter. The sound of the truck's engine echoed outside, and then everything went silent again. Tom found a window and peered outside. The truck was there, but now it seemed different, like it was part of the forest itself. Sarah felt something cold touch her shoulder. As she turned around, a spectral hand grabbed her. Everything went black. Hours later, a truck driver found their abandoned car on the side of the road, doors open, but there was no sign of Sarah and Tom. The mysterious truck was never found, but in the following weeks, other people reported being chased by a phantom vehicle on that same road. And so, the legend of the Road of the Lost was born, a route where those who enter may never return.